happening, beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin' the Tea. Where we what, Ariane?
Where we sip the tea and our guests
Spill
that tea.
Or, this is not alcohol, by the way. It's not. We're not making it nice just yet. Where are you, Ari? Where's your little baby?
My little baby's sleeping. She's not coming on today. She's too tired. But I'm here in LA. Where are you at?
I'm at the Brazilian court in Palm Beach, darling. I'm making it nice, Dorinda Medley.
Yes, I'm very jealous. I am in steaming hot New York City. Just came back from BSM. Very sad to be back, to be honest with you.
Well, we have Dorinda Medley here. I would say she is a multi-hyphenate queen. She did reality TV, but before reality TV, she lived a multi-layered life. She has layers upon layers. She now has her book, which just dropped this week, Make It Nice. Dorinda Medley, welcome. Are you ready to sip some tea, girlfriend?
Thank you for having me. I was saying that I'm 15 minutes late. I pride myself on never being late. So I apologize. I'm usually a great planner when it comes to that, but I'm here now. And I think for that reason, I got to make it extra better. Don't you think this has to be an extra better?
You better make it nice, honey. Because
I am going to make it nice.
Let's make it. All right, Ariane, take it away, girlfriend.
Yes. So let's just backtrack because 2020 was obviously I like to say interesting year for everyone around the world, but we want to focus on the positive. So looking back in 2020, what would you say was one takeaway that you had with your career and personally?
Well, everybody knows I was put on pause. That's become the new word, pause. I'm going to make a mug that says pause. And, it was sort of a moment where I was put on pause. The world was in pause. And I found myself back at Bluestone Manor. And it was just sort of a full circle moment. And the takeaway for me is that, things happen. And when we first get, they're presented with us, it's absolute fear and panic. And then if you're able to sit in it for a moment and look around you, it presented such a great opportunity to me, for me to write this book, Make It Nice, because writing was much more dense than I expected. And B, I got to spend a tremendous amount of time with my parents. And I hadn't done that for 40 years. Not just drop by, hey mom, how you doing? I gotta go. Like sit, have lunch, be part of their lives and get back into their day-to-day rhythm. And that really in the end translated to being able to write my book. So I know someday, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I'll look back and say, God, remember that horrible time when we had to go through the pandemic, but remember how great it was that I got to spend a year and a half with my mom and dad down the street. It just wouldn't have happened.
I love the concept of and I think it's been something through discussions that we've had, Ariane, the relationships that matter the most, the pandemic, and like you just said, Dorinda, when we look back in 20, 30 years, it linked us tighter. It was the glue that brought us together. And I love hearing that about family. I think the pandemic did that for families so much more.
I think it did a couple things. It linked people together and it unlinked people together.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Wait, this is not alcohol, but wait a minute.
Do you know
that? That is so true.
I don't know about you guys, but my tolerance, I think before the pandemic, my tolerance for sort of bullshit was sort of like, oh, well, that's okay. Oh, I'm not going to really address it. Oh, I'm okay with that. Even if now I'm like, you know what? And it's not even before. It might have been you wanted to have an argument about it. You wanted to discuss it. You wanted to confront the person. Now it's like, we're just not of like minds, and that's okay. And that's what I really came in tune with. Here I am at 56. I kind of know who I like, what I like, how I like it. I've earned the right to have those things. I haven't stolen it, cheated for it, lied about it. I've earned it. And I want to really go back into this world. Hopefully we're going back quicker, than it seems to be, but go back into whatever this new world is, no matter what's forward, with clearer eyes. I just don't even want to fight about it. If we don't get along, it's okay. We got it. You know what I mean? There's no more beauty contests for me in my life. I'm not holding up the sign, please pick me anymore.
Girl, come through. that's kind of what I feel like 2020 did for me. It's like open your eyes and actually realize what's important, what's not important, and the things that we take for granted and stuff that really doesn't matter. And people like, okay, my tolerance is this small, you know, because like life is so short.
Well, also too, the pandemic was an incredible opportunity to test your intellect. And, you know, intellect is something that we think, oh, being clever, but to really be an intellectual, creative person that's able to cope with situations, you got to test yourself. And it can't be when one thing cuts off, your world ends. You got to be creative. You got to be a thinker. I think, honestly, I was just saying this to my mom the other day. I think I've come out more intelligent from the pandemic. How about that?
I see something in you, this conversation. I see an ultimate relaxation into this is Dorinda Medley, and I don't give two F's. This is what I'm showing you.
This is Dorinda. I'm not even taking a last name anymore. I'm doing the Madonna. My name's good enough now to not even have a last name. Share.
Cheers,
So
girl.
I want to get into this part of this is Dorinda. I want to take it back to kind of like growing into the womanhood as a young girl. Looking at where you are now, can you see like a moment that kind of sets you on this journey?
Yes.
Because you're so much more than just what people would know you for. You've lived a fully layered life way before we even met Dorinda.
Well,
So
you
I
heard,
wanna
you heard what I said in my interview. I said I gave you the cake. I gave you a piece of the cake, but now I want to give you the whole cake.
Okay, correct.
You ready, girl?
Correct.
No, I'll tell you what the pivoting moment is, and I just had this discussion with my mom and dad. Is when my mother, I'll never forget it. I was in the parking lot listening to Van Halen at my public school, and my mother drove up in her green station wagon and said, "You got into Berkshire School, a private school, in a green lime," which I like now. I hated then. Lime vinyl raincoat and curlers in her hair, and I'm thinking, oh my God.
Yes.
She said, "You're going to Berkshire School. You see all this here? This has ended. You're going to private school." And that's it. And I remember saying to my friends, Stacy and Christine Keefer, and this guy I was convinced I was going to marry, "I'll never forget about you." It's like at the top, we always had Van Halen. And my mother didn't give me a choice. I was like, I will never go. I never, and that just pivoted because it changed the environment. It put a hard stop on one thing and it introduced me to a whole new, it was like it was a plant and she took me from one soil and was like, boom. And she put me in another soil that was different and enriched and this. And I was like, after a year, I was like, Christine, who? You know, you want to go Van Halen, what?
I love that analogy of the plants because I think that really is like you, and it's so precise that you remember that moment, and that's the game changer moment. Wow, that's freaking cool, man. That is very
Diane
cool.
Sincala, I could see her today.
With the Rollins too. Love it, Mom.
The green vinyl raincoat jacket. I was like, oh. But now I want that jacket because it actually was very courage. I often asked her what happened to that jacket.
She's hiding it from you, don't you worry. I'm like, she's like, no. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So what happened was I got to see it, you know, because I grew up with no money and you know, everyone around us kind of did what everyone did. They got married to someone local and you kind of, you know, my family was very Italian, Polish, and you just sort of followed suit. You know, you didn't question the system. And, you know, I probably would have, because I had a successful mother, no matter what, I would have married probably better than what my parents would have considered better than maybe my dad, who was a telephone man. Maybe I would have married the local lawyer. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have been happy, but I think my mother saw something in me that she knew I needed to fly. You know what I mean? And she never wanted to feel like my brothers had more opportunities than we had. And I think also if I've learned anything in the book, which kind of made me sad, was that I was talking to my mother about the book. And I think of her as being born for me. Like my mother was born to be my mother, right? I didn't realize she had hopes and dreams. And she said, you know, I got a full scholarship to secretarial school in Boston. I said, what? She said, yeah. She goes, imagine if I became a secretary. Imagine I could have married an executive. And first, one part I was like you married my dad. You know what I mean? And the second part it was like, wow, like, maybe she had hopes and dreams and aspirations and maybe a little bit of how she put that fire in my belly was something she maybe felt like she didn't feel like she had the opportunity for.
That resonates with me because I think that around this time, my mother said the same to me. I think my mother's a bust ass bitch, but she literally pushed me like a dog because and she said, you were born to do some of the things that, just putting you in a scenario, throw you in like your mom did, Dorinda. I know Ariane, like I live for my mom. Like she's the queen.
Me
So
too.
I love hearing this. I love hearing this story. Ari, sorry, we're just chin wagging away. Got something?
No, but kind of to add on what you're saying is like to be in entertainment, to like be the badass bitch that you are and stuff like that. It's like it takes like a strong woman, you know what I mean, to be in this industry and to make a book, be an entrepreneur. Which, speaking of, girl, your book, Make It Nice. Give our audience, a little bit of the tea about your book. And you talked about 2020 writing and, your decision to want to come out with the book.
I think the reason I think, like I said previously, is that, people think they know me, right? They see me on the show. There's a ton of us, but I don't think people really understand understood how I got there. And I really wanted to sort of have them follow the breadcrumbs, connect the dots. So yeah, we all know that my husband passed, but there's a journey within that. They all know that I love to cook and clean and make it nice, but there was a journey within that. Hannah has a father that I don't talk about that I'm very close to, my first husband. There was a journey in that. And I just wanted to kind of connect the dots, and I wanted it to read like I was having a conversation with you. And I wanted people to sort of resonate and say, wow, I get that. Wow, whoa, that was stuff, as if I was having a conversation and you could talk back to me. I wanted them to know that, people are very harsh a lot of times. They're like, oh, you've got it so easy. You've got it so good. You up there, it wasn't always so easy, and you can't, and I'm not ashamed of my successes. I'm not ashamed of but I also am aware of, the things I had to do to get there, and the sacrifices I had to make, and the choices I had to make, and the failures I had to go through. Those are real. That I am as fragile as you, and I am as vulnerable as you. And if you cut me, I bleed too. Just because I walk in the world and I always seem strong and got my shit together, that's because I didn't have any choice. Because if I didn't, there was the alligators out to get me every day. But don't worry, there's been many nights I've gone home and sat in my bathtub and cried. Like, it's too hard. But you get up the next day, you dig deep on who you are, how you became who you are. You make a couple calls to your mother and you start your day again and you do it again. Right?
Best advice ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to I don't want to blow your trumpet, but I have to say, I want to know, there's a question in this somewhere. I think that you resonate with people because you live in your authenticity. I do believe that not even being on the show anymore, the show was just part of that vehicle. And now this is the book is like this new curtain being pulled back into something else coming as well that you may not, I'm sure you got ideas in the back of your head bubbling, but I think the reason, I want to know what you think it is. And feel free to be open. What you think it is about yourself that a lot of people come and go from these shows and don't resonate post being on a show like this. What is it about Dorinda that people feel like you're one of us? You're one of the people. That's what I think.
Nice.
You are though, babe. Like you've worked your ass off. You've done your things. You live a fabulous life, obviously. But it's also like you feel attainable and reachable more so than others. Put it that way. I'll say that. I stand by it and I believe it.
Well, I think I kind of put myself out there the way, I wasn't trying to be something I wasn't on the show. There wasn't a lot of hair and makeup. There wasn't a lot, I really did show you the good, the bad. And they love to hate me. They hate to love me. I think it's because I'm very human, in the ways that I'm like,
I like that.
And I'm not afraid to show my fragilities, my fragileness. I'm not afraid to show my vulnerabilities. And I'm also not afraid to say, I'm sorry. Like, oops, I fucked up last night. Because we've all been there. People want to be high and mighty. They're like, oh my God, I would never. I'm like, oh, stop it. You just did it last week. Let's just stop all that. I don't believe in that. Oh my God, I've never say never, because God knows all of us have been in situations where the next morning we've been like, how did I get
Yeah,
out of
but
that
most
one?
of us don't have the cat. We don't have the. Ariana and you share something in common because she was on Total Divas for seasons upon seasons on the WWE show with the Bella twins.
I
The
know
difference
you
is,
looked familiar. That's why I thought it was just because you were so beautiful. I'm thinking,
Oh,
that
thanks,
girl
girl.
looks familiar.
Yeah, back in the
The
day.
whole thing.
Yeah.
But I will
Yeah,
say
and-
one thing, and I said it the other day, and I will say it again, and I mean it. And you know this, okay? You know this, Claire. It is not easy to be on TV. So people have a lot to say about it. People, I like my girls I work with, don't get along with it, get along with them. I raise my hat to all of them, because to put your life out there, especially the way these girls, all of us do, 5 days, you work, film 5 days a week, hours and hours and hours. Any situation is thrown at you, and they are filming it. They used to film me brushing my teeth. And then to come out of it and give it away to the world to do whatever they want with it. It takes a brave person. So good season. You know, people are like, what do you think of the season? What don't you think of the season? It's like, I don't want to talk about it, because they got out there and did it.
correct.
And they had a huge character missing this year. And I'm not saying me, New York City.
That's correct.
New York City is a character. So you take her out, and you notice I called her a woman. You take her out.
Honey, I'm there with you. Yeah. I completely agree with that. That's New York City is the pulsating of the whole series from its beginnings. So
That's it. She's a character. We live in it. We breathe in it. We walk with it. We're everything, you know, it's not like the other franchises where they have big houses and big backyards and all this kind of stuff. We live, eat, and play in New York. I mean, my apartment is a place to lay my head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so true. But I wanted to make that connect between the two of you, because I do think it's brave to I do think it's brave to go on TV. And I've always said this, because when people say, I met Dorinda through my girl Aviva Drescher. When I say I'm friends with Aviva Drescher, they always, the tone is like not so great. And I was like, you realize it's entertainment too, guys. Like, are you like, come on, man. I was like, she's a mom. It's so funny perception of life.
But people want to take that. Viva's has been a part of New York City for a very long time, and has done a lot of great things. I never knew Viva that well, but I knew of her. That's the great thing about New York City. We all know about each other. We're like an animal in the zoo. Like, we know where I don't know that penguin, but I've gone by their cage. You know, we all kind of knew each other. And I think that's why I fit in so well, because we're kind of, it is a very unique fishbowl.
It's for real. I love it. It's a zoo. It's a jungle out there. 100%.
You got your lions here. You got your penguins. You got your, the nice people. You got the meaner people. You kind of feed the lion very carefully, and you pet the penguins a different way. And I'm a bit of a zookeeper anyway. I'm very good at managing those relationships.
And that's why I think I'm leading into the next question, kind of moving into wrap up. It's funny, the anecdote of being a zookeeper and managing, but also being the chameleon that can pass through each. What is the legacy from this dot now? So what is the legacy if Hannah, your beautiful daughter, was, what do you want to leave for her? Because I think what you leave for her is what what's your mark on the world?
Make sure that you, as for a daughter, I'm saying this and I mean this for man, woman, everyone, but for me, for my daughter, I would love her to have a sense. One of the proudest things I think I have now, when I think about it, I was thinking about, someone asked me, what do you value the most? And of course, it's the obvious, your daughter, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But what I value the most for me right now, and I'm so proud that I achieved it, is my freedom. Like, I don't answer to anybody anymore. I get to choose what I want to do, who I want to see. I can, I'm financially okay. I'm spiritually okay. I'm physically okay. Like, I wake up in the morning and I get to choose. And that, for a woman, for me, and I can only speak as being a woman, I'd love to give Hannah that gift, because I've been tethered to different people, places, things, and reasons for a long time. And I'm really untethered. That's why when people are like, when are you going to start dating again? It's like, it's not the point right now. Like, I'm in a beautiful growing part, and maybe I'll meet someone again. And if God willing, if I'm supposed to have it, but I've got a companion in my life that's doing really well for me, and it's called Me, Myself, and I, and My Success. And I'm kind of enjoying it, to tell you the truth. I'm enjoying being a little bit untethered. And I don't even mean just with a man. I just mean sort of mentally, physically, you know. I like it.
You feel very clean and you feel very easy
your
right
energy.
now.
Yes.
It's
and I
freaking
really think I'm on
fabulous.
the precipice of learning a lot. I think this next phase, there's a wonderful person that I had the opportunity to finally speak to 6 months ago. It took me 6 months to speak to him, Jade Luna. And I waited 6 months and everybody said, sign up for him, sign up for him. And all these famous people use him. And I thought, I'll do it. And he's not expensive. So I'm like, you have to wait 6 months for this guy, and he's not expensive. So there must be there, because that's really the unicorn. It's one thing to say wait 6 months and then they're $5,000, but then you wait 6 months and they're only like 125. So the guy said something, and I then recorded it. Not a lot of it meant a lot, because it was now like 7 months ago. The guy was so spot on, and he said things that just have fallen into place. And I just think he said something, he said, about August, you're going to feel like you're on the precipice of real just satisfaction, peace, and tremendous growth. And he's the guy that used it. He said, don't let anything tether you down, because people love to suck on that energy. And I swear to God, that's how I feel.
No, you can tell, like, I mean, it's hard, via Zoom, because when you're with someone in person, it's different, but you can even tell, like, through this, like, your energy, you're just very free, light spirited, and just like it seems like you're truly like living on like the path that you're supposed to be on right now, just with your energy and your vibes. Yeah. I love it.
I love it too. Well, I'm so happy. This was almost like therapeutic.
We say that all the time. There's times where I
mean, where do I pay the bill, and do you take insurance?
Oh, we're not done yet. We're gonna round it out, and Ari, you want to start a little rapid fire? We're gonna leave you with some high vibrations. Vibrations, come on.
I love it.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
I'll tell you, my biggest pet peeve is terrible table manners. Drives me crazy. It's such a basic, and it's such a calling card. I guess you can see a beautiful person, a beautiful man, woman, even a child, and they sit and they have terrible table manners. And I'm like, that says everything I don't need to know about you.
Oh,
it's true.
Yeah.
If you were granted one wish, what would that wish be?
If I were granted one wish, oh God, that no harm ever comes to Hannah.
Beautiful. All right, last one, girlfriend. You want to round out with one more?
What is one fun fact about you that no one knows about?
One fun fact that I am a frustrated DJ. I'm called DJ D Nice. I'm constantly making playlists and Spotify lists and sending them to friends. It comes from my old days of teaching aerobics. So I am constantly, and I'm in the process right now of taking a DJ class online. I want to one day, this is a dream. I want to be like 60 years old and a fabulous, I'm going to always wear a Chanel suit, basically vintage, tons of pearls. And I'm going to show up at big casinos, and DJ D Nice will just spin for an hour. I'll have a traditional hair thing on, and then I'll just go right off the stage. And I'll become like a cult figure. And I will only wear vintage Chanel suits.
I'm obsessed. All right, take us out, babe.
Oh my goodness. So for people who are living,
I think it possibly could. You put your mind to anything, you are proof that shit can happen. For real. Sorry, Ari, take us out, man.
It's okay.
DJ.
I think I have a small delay too, so the struggle's a little real. But for people who are living under a rock, let everyone know where they can follow you at, get your book, the whole nine, girls, spill the tea.
Well, you can follow me at Dorinda Medley. Instagram, and all my social handles are Dorinda Medley, and make it nice where books are sold. And the audio, by the way, is done in my voice, because I thought I wanted people to hear my voice as I was telling my story. So thank you so much.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Where can people follow you at, Matt?
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983. And Miss Ariane, yourself, darling?
You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew. Of course, follow Sippin' the Tea at Sippin' the Tea TV show on Instagram, Sippin' the Tea TV1 on Twitter. Of course, we need you to share this if you got any value from it today. That's our only fee that we ask. And for all of our audio people, you can stream it on all digital platforms, but we will catch you guys same time, same place of another episode of Sippin' the Tea TV show. Cheers.
That was great.
Dorinda, thank you so much.
I
I'm gonna
gotta
do
tell
a
you, I
little
really enjoyed that.